Hey there, cats and kitties. I am the Blues Man, Johnny Blues, and with this video, we discuss my thoughts on the newly announced, and actually announced for the second time, new Ghost in the Shell anime series that'll be coming to Netflix in 2020. The original announcement for this actually hails back to April of 2017, and I had actually done a reaction video at that time already because I was just uber stoked. I was completely and thoroughly excited and through the roof because, as per that original announcement, Kenji Kamiyama, the primary director on the standalone Complex first and second seasons, as well as the follow-up movie Solid State Society, was attached. And that pretty much led myself, as well as everyone else and their mothers and brothers, to make the assumption that this would be falling very closely on to standalone Complex, presumably being a third season, third gig kind of thing, and that just sent shockwaves through Ghost in the Shell fans, I think by and large, myself included. Now, alongside Kenji Kamiyama, it was also announced that Shinji Aramaki, someone I'm much less familiar with, was also going to be involved. He is most known for Appleseed Saga Ex Machina, which I think may be like a 3D CG animated film, perchance. Not really wholly, familiar with Appleseed in any way, shape, or form. And that all of this was going to be produced in-house by Production IG, the studio who was responsible for Standalone Complex, which is, to date, my favorite iteration of anything Ghost in the Shell, as comparable to the manga, the 1995 film, the follow-up film to that, as well as Arise, the OVAs that built up to the new movie, that, as it was called, which tied into Arise, which was the most recent anime iteration of Ghost in the Shell, and as well as the god-awful live-action movie. Thankfully, this will have nothing to do with that. Now, as per the recent announcement, we have these things confirmed all over again. Kenji Kamiyama, Shinji Aramaki, Production IG, they are all in place as they were, but now we actually have an official title, which seems to confirm the speculation that this is going to be directly tied to Standalone Complex. The title is Ghost in the Shell SAC_2045. Now, of course, the 2045 makes the assumption that that is the time and place this will be, taking place in, which, if true, it's actually set 11 years after the last time we saw Public Security Section 9 and the Major in Solid State Society. And, being a little over a decade, that's a hell of a gap. I don't know if they're going to be delving into what might have transpired in that time, or if we're just going to be sort of picking up fresh with them. For characters who don't have the bio-enhancements like Togasa, he's probably going to be looking a bit older, that kind of thing, if he's not even retired at this point. So it does open up a lot of questions if, in fact, it is 11 years later that we're following up with everyone. Another aspect that actually opens up a whole floodgate of questions is the seeming concept art piece that was released coinciding with this brand new announcement, which was a piece commissioned by the popular internet artist Ilya Kupchinov, I think is how his name is pronounced, his or her name. And I immediately recognized the art style because his work is, his or her work, is one that I admire and I've stumbled onto time and time again. I actually follow a Facebook page that posts it from time to time. And so, I mean, it is such a stark reimagining of the Major in this new art piece, rather than the purple hair from Standalone Complex and Solid State Society that the Major was most familiarly recognized as having. This Major has black hair. She looks somewhat younger, the wires attached to the back of the neck and everything like that. And so the question is then raised, is this concept art piece what they are going to be basing the Major's appearance as in this new iteration, and will that or won't that be explained within it, that kind of thing, because it is so different from the way she looked in the former Standalone Complex iterations, as I say, those first and second seasons and the follow-up movie. I don't really know. Coinciding with that is also the information that this new series is going to be a fully 3D CG animated series of, I believe, 24 episodes in length, much as Standalone Complex and Second Gig, the second season of Standalone Complex, were. And the fact that this is going to be 3D CG animated has given a lot of people pause, including myself. There are series that have done it right. There are series that have done it way wrong. And Netflix's track record, I think the thing people are mostly overlooking because, a lot of the reactions I've seen for this most recent announcement coinciding with the fact that Netflix was going to be airing this series, I think a lot of people are making the ill-perceived presumption that somehow or other Netflix has a hand in the production of this series, when I think they have strictly bought the streaming rights for what Production IG is producing for this new SAC_2045 series. But with that said, the 3D CG, the fact that it's going to be a full series that is all 3D CG animated, the fact that the Major herself looks so different from what we're familiar with, especially relating it back to Standalone Complex, it strikes me as odd in a few different ways. Of course, I'm still primarily excited because Kenji Kamiyama is attached, is involved. And I have to wonder if Shinji Aramaki's involvement doesn't have to do with the fact that this series is going to be 3D CG animated because of his work on Appleseed, which was so animated. And, it's kind of, I'd say maybe 70-30 as far as 70%. I'm still stoked for this. I'm still excited. But now 30% of me is a little apprehensive, not having so many answers about this as yet. Looking at that concept art piece that was commissioned by Ilya Kupchanov, the fact that Netflix has a hand in it, at least as far as distribution goes. The fact of the matter is, as far as we're aware, the bottom line is that Production IG is still the studio that is directly producing this. It's being produced in-house by them, as overseen by Kenji Kamiyama, and that is still gangbusters news. Whether or not you will love or hate the fact that it's going to be 3D CG animated, it's one of those things where I'm just going to have to wait for it to come around, if I'm still here by then, and, I'll sample it out and see how it hits me, how it affects me. It can't be anything worse than the live-action movie was, as far as I'm concerned, especially with the creative hands behind the scenes. And it sort of leads me to then wonder, because I really love the English voice dub for the Standalone Complex first and second seasons in Solid State Society. And I have to wonder, as I've seen people already questioning on like my anime list, will they bring them back? Mary McGlynn, Richard Epcar, Crispin Freeman, among others. I really, fingers crossed, I really hope they do. And it'll be interesting to see how they release this through Netflix. Will they already have the dubbing complete by then? Will they be releasing it, in Japanese with subtitles? All of that remains to be seen. It remains to be seen what cast will be involved. It remains to be seen who will be sort of orchestrating the music for the series. Most people like myself would love to see Yoko Kanno involved in some way along that line. And, lots of questions, lots of time between now and then to have to sort of speculate and formulate and just sit back on our haunches and wait and see what happens. What are the characters going to look like if the Major is so different? What is Bato going to look like? What is Togusa going to look like? What is Aramaki going to look like if he's even still around at that point? And what state exactly is Public Security Section 9 going to be in? What are they going to be facing off against in this upcoming seeming third gig of a season, even though it is called SAC_2045? But I'm still mostly excited for this. I don't have the apprehension as much as other people do that Netflix, has the streaming rights for this, that they're going to be putting it out. I am not wholly thrilled that it's going to be fully 3D CG animated, but if you look at a series like Hoseki no Kuni, also known as Land of the Lustrous, that was completely 3D CG animated, and it was just gorgeous. It left a little to be desired for my taste in the writing, but it was 3D CG animated, and it just looked brilliant. It looked amazing, visually appealing to the nth degree. So I can only hope the animators involved in this will be as whip smart artisans, if you will, as the Land of the Lustrous series. But being that it is Production IG, I don't have much of a slip of faith, even knowing it's going to be CG animated. Because as I say, Kenji Kamiyama, man, and Production IG, that's like the Blues Brothers. It's like Tom and Jerry. It's like it goes together like peanut butter and jelly, and it just makes me smile, no matter what other information has come out. So I'd love to hear from you guys in the comments below what your reaction to this brand new announcement is. If you remember or not the original announcement in 2017 that Kenji Kamiyama was involved, that Shinji Aramaki was involved, and Production IG was producing the series. What do you think of the new title? What do you speculate it might hint at? Is it just strictly standalone complex underscore 2045, the year it's taking place in? Could the 2045, could that be a numerical code for some new foe Section 9 has to be involved with, you know, dealing with? And how do you feel about Netflix streaming it? The 3D CG animation that's going to be comprising the entirety of the series, and love it or hate it. Anything goes in the comments below. I'd also like to ask if you enjoyed this video and you'd like to see content like this from me in the future. If you consider supporting my channel, please have a look at the PayPal contribution link posted both in the description as well as the comments below, which is a direct line to me, and it gives you options you can explore much akin to Patreon as far as setting up a monthly contribution and one-time only kind of thing. You can send me a contribution with a personal message requesting topics I may discuss in the future, or shout-outs or anything like that. And anything you saw fit to send my way would just be a direct line to supporting me and keeping me going on YouTube, and it would be 2 thumbs up for me. I'd very much appreciate it. So yeah, otherwise, just bite our tongues and wait and see what happens for quite a while ahead, and that'll be pretty much it for me on this, so I'll catch you all later. Peace.